Good afternoon, everybody. Big Mike back here with you once again. Welcome back to Big Mike Talks, where I'm going over the rest of the week that was in pro wrestling. So that's going to be AEW Dynamite and AEW Collision. Sorry, no SmackDown or Rampage. Was a little bit busy on Friday. So now here we are, looking at these two very, very interesting shows. And hope you kept your socks on, because I'm about to blow them off. No, that's lame. Let's start off with AEW Dynamite. We start off with I guess you could call it a championship qualifier match, as the America's champion, MJF, he won the international title for Will Ospreay and renamed it, kind of like what Ospreay did in New Japan with the United States title, changed it to the UK belt. Irony, I know. Anyway, MJF is not putting his title on the line, but if his opponent wins, he gets a future title shot. The opponent, former pretty much everything tag team champion, Kyle Fletcher. And before a lockup could happen, MJF bills out of the ring, gets on a microphone, and he says, "Let me explain something to you, kid. Either you lock up like a man, or I'm leaving." So MJF goes back in. They go to lock up. MJF with a low blow. Tries for a quick roll-up, only gets a 2 count. And then we're off to the races. This was an awesome opening matchup. It just shows what MJF is willing to do to beat his opponents. Really good back and forth. Eventually, now I did miss this part because I had to use the restroom. Apparently Don Callis, who was sitting on commentary, got up, gave Kyle Fletcher the screwdriver, which it is an actual screwdriver, not a drink. And Fletcher looked very conflicted about using it. He then throws it down. MJF takes advantage, winning with the Brain Buster. And as this is going on, you have Will Ospreay. He's watching on a video board in the back somewhere. MJF then just straight up attacks Kyle Fletcher. You see backstage Will Ospreay trying to get out of the room. He can't do it. Eventually busts down the door. And then you have MJF, puts on his Dynamite Diamond ring, goes for the big KO punch. But then, he hits the KO punch. Goes for a Tiger Driver, which is Ospreay's move he is unwilling to hit because he hurt Bryan Danielson with it. Then out comes Will Ospreay to run MJF off. Then you see Don Callis and the doctor come in, and they're checking on Kyle Fletcher. And it almost kind of looks like Callis was kind of blaming Ospreay for what happened to Kyle Fletcher. I don't know. It's interesting. This MJF Will Ospreay story is probably one of the best stories AEW have been telling. It's going to be interesting to see what they do at All In. Going to be a fun one. Next up, we got women's action as Mariah May takes on Viva Vane. Viva Vane? I'm not sure how to pronounce her name. Now at first, May definitely goes, looks like she underestimated her opponent a bit. Vane fights back after a while. Eventually, May hits the Mayday and then the Storm Zero to pick up the victory. And then as she's celebrating, a ringside hand gives her a wrapped package, a wrapped up gift. She unwraps it. It's a picture of when she and Toni Storm last, cuddled up to one another. Then we all see the back. It says, "Die May Die," which is yikes. Then May eventually flips it over, sees it. In comes the ring hand, who unmasks. Of course, it's Toni Storm, who then just beats the stuffing out of May for a while. May fights back. But then officials break it up, and yeah, definitely a very interesting segment. I hope Viva Vane does get, maybe not signed to AEW, but at least with that gets more exposures for other promotions to consider her. Because she definitely did really well. Anyway, this next segment is very interesting. It's backstage. It's with Jack Perry. He's in front of all these little, like, TVs. He starts off, "Everything in life has a price. How much will you sacrifice?" Then almost immediately after that line was a Taco Bell ad. And no, I'm not kidding. That tickled me pink. It takes a break from the ad. Then we see Jack Perry smash the TVs. I do feel like there was a little bit more to that promo, but I guess someone either in production or on TBS's end got a little trigger happy. But honestly, that timing was so good. It was on the level of when Jericho took on, God, what's his name? The owner of GCW, when he had the pizza slicer and the Domino's Pizza ad played. It was on the level of that. I thought that was really, really funny. Anyway, as an answer to that promo, we have Darby Allin backstage. He's regular backstage, not in a special area. He says, "Jack, isn't it convenient that you don't have to show up for any of the regular shows at all? But that's fine for me. Just make sure you show up at All In. That match is going to be absolutely insane. I cannot wait for it." Next up, we got the Bad Apple, Brian Keith, taking on Katsuyori Shibata. Of course, Jericho makes his own entrance as he's on commentary, because gotta have Jericho on the show. And this match was whole lot of fun. Like, Shibata's strong style works well with Keith Lee's style, which I'm still kind of trying to figure out myself. Eventually, Shibata won with a combination Iron Claw into the armbar to pick up the win. Post-match, Jericho, Big Bill, and Brian Keith attack Shibata. Jericho is looking to hit Shibata with the FTW belt. Who makes the save? It's your boy Hook, making his grand return to AEW. He fights off the Jericho Appreciation Society as Jericho is talking smack on the ramp. It's definitely good to have Hook back. He's definitely one of the more interesting characters for AEW. Let's see what he does at Wembley. Next up, we got a backstage interview with Orange Cassidy. He was supposed to team up with Mark Briscoe and, not Ishii, and Kyle O'Reilly, but due to the weather, they couldn't make it to the arena. So, Cassidy reveals, "No, I'm still going to do this trios match. I found some local boys as replacements." So, Hangman definitely has a plan. Let's see what we have from him. We then cut to a Hangman Adam Page interview. He says, Um, there's only one man I really want to get my hands on, and he's surrounded by goons. I'll have what I want when I want it. So, I wanted to say he was talking about Swerve. Maybe he was talking about Okada. I'm not sure. I guess we'll see. Then we have a Swerve Strickland sit-down interview as he's being interviewed by good old JR, in which this is definitely a good role for JR. Anyway, so Swerve pretty much says, look, in every way, I'm beyond motivated for this matchup. At last year's All In, I was tagging with some legends, and this year, I'm in the main event. I've been knocking on that door long enough, and I let myself in. Takeaway from the match at All In against Danielson, it's going to be physical. And while this title is on the line, that's not enough prize for me. Danielson's legacy is on the line. He needs something to fight for. But why should I? I'm in the driver's seat. And that's what worries people. And what happens when your body gives out, Danielson? What happens when you go to do something and it doesn't work? At All In, Danielson's legacy belongs to me now. A great fired up promo from Swerve. Almost makes me believe that he's going to win. Almost. Next up, we got that 6-man tag team match playa as Orange Cassidy revealing his tag team partners. Of course, it's FTR. They're in North Carolina. And they got to have those good old Southern boys there as they take on Roosh, the Beast Mortis, and Roderick Strong. A bit of a thrown together team, but I think it works. Anyway, this match was absolutely insane. Everyone pretty much got their bleep in, including my MVP of this match. It's going to be Mortis. Like, Mortis doing the work. Absolutely. At certain points, the rest of the kingdom, of course, that's only Matt Deven and Mike Bennett, attack Orange Cassidy while the ref is distracted. Lots of really good back and forth near the end, including a shatter machine, orange punch into a shatter machine for the win for Orange Cassidy and FTR. Then out comes the Acclaimed, which is very interesting because they got a world title match next week. They're pretty much talking to FTR at this point. He says, no one wants to hear from you. You got all our respect for what you've done in the business, not just for AEW. I'm done talking. Let's do this. So FTR and the Acclaimed brawl in front of the ring. So yeah, definitely going to be interesting what the Young Bucks and the Acclaimed pull off next week, and if FTR is going to get involved, potentially leading to a triple threat at All In. We then cut to backstage for a promo from the Patriarchy, mostly Christian Cage, who says, there are problems in the Trios division. I made some calls, so on Collision this week, the Bang Bang Gang and the House of Black are going to have a number 1 contenders match where the winner faces the Patriarchy at All In. You guys fight like children. The Trios division needs a bit of a father figure. So on Saturday, I'm going to be the special guest referee. Whoa. Couple of special guest referee matches. I like it. We then get a nice little hype video for Hologram, who has been on Collision so far. Maybe thinking he's making his way to Dynamite soon? That could be fun. Next up, we got a 2-on-1 handicap match as Camille takes on Clara Carter and Jasmine Hulk. And yeah, this was pretty much a big old squash match from Camille. The two enhancement talents do try to get some stuff in. Eventually, Camille hits a torture rock bomb into a stacked power bomb for the victory. Then Mercedes Moné gets in the ring. She has a microphone. Say hello to Camille. Camille then throws her opponents outside of the ring, clearing it up. And also say hello to your CEO. And don't waste your breath on Britt Baker. She is not here tonight. And we don't have to deal with her until All In. She's not here. The first champ is here. Britt may be the first, but she's not the best. I'm the best in AEW. Then we hear from Tony Schiavone, who's up from the commentary table. She says, with Tony Khan has now lifted the suspension of Dr. Britt Baker. And we're going to hear from her now. So, she's up on the Tron. She's not in the arena, which is interesting. With Baker saying, look, I've been D&D since day one. Unlike you. And the second things don't go your way, you take your ball and you go home. This all ends at All In. And I got 7 days to think how to get my hands on you. So, some fighting words from Dr. Baker. That match is going to be hype. Like, I feel like they want to destroy each other. That's going to be a fun one. We then get a nice little Swerve versus Bryan Danielson hype video. That match is going to slap. And then we get to our main event match. It's an anything goes match between Jeff Jarrett and Bryan Danielson. Now I have here, it's the special guest referee is Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Ricky is actually on commentary, so I may have jumped the gun. And as Danielson is making his entrance, Jeff Jarrett sneaks behind him. El Kabong with the guitar. Bell then rings on the ramp, and they just fight each other. Like, they go into the crowd, they go up on the concourse, use some trash cans, they fight back down to the ring. They then start getting chairs and tables and stuff. It's definitely interesting. At one point, Jeff Jarrett has Danielson in a figure 4 leg lock. To get out of it, Danielson grabs a chair, smacks Jeff Jarrett with it. Jeff Jarrett goes to hit the stroke, but that gets blocked by Danielson. Danielson then picks up the chair, hits a Busaiku knee into the chair, into Jeff Jarrett, to pick up the win. So then both guys are down. You get Jay Lethal, Satnam Singh, Karen Jarrett, along with Wheeler Yuta, coming out to check on their respective guys. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat gets up from commentary, gets in the ring, raises both guys' arms, and then they embrace. Looks like it's going to be the end of the show. Then out comes the World Heavyweight Champion, Swerve Strickland. He gets on a microphone, pretty much says, look at here. You see this, right? We're witnessing 3 legends here on AEW. We got Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, Double J Jeff Jarrett, and me, the World Heavyweight Champion Swerve Strickland. That one got me good. That was a great line. All men standing here have wrestled on this network. All have been champions here, except for you, Danielson. And the only thing standing in your way is me, one of the greatest of all time. At All In, your legacy becomes mine. And that's not even the end of the promo. It says, you had a hell of a match here, Danielson. Your body feels sore. Your leg giving out. Imagine, you've seen what Jeff Jarrett can do to you. Imagine what I can do to you. And look, I saw you get tested out here. So next week, it's my turn to get tested when I go on one-on-one with Wheeler Yuta. Ooh. And while I did watch from the back, Danielson, I want you to get a front row seat and show you why I'm the most dangerous man in AEW. Yeah, that's going to be a killer show. That's going to be awesome next week. We got the tag team titles on the line. We got Yuta and Swerve. That's going to be a clash of styles. It's going to be awesome. I cannot wait. Here's what I'm going to say, though. It was kind of a middle-of-the-road Dynamite. Like, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't, like, its usual great. So, hopefully we can step it up a little bit next week and get some more stories told right in time for All In, which is coming. Which is nuts to think about. So that was Dynamite. We then go to AEW Collision. Still doing his residency in the Esports Hub in Texas. Which it's a nice little venue. I kind of dig it. Like, is it a little small? Sure. But I feel like it gives Collision a bit more character than just being another 2-hour Dynamite. Anyway, we go into our first matchup as it's Darby Allin teaming up with Hologram, which is an interesting little team, taking on Josh Woods and Tony Nese of the Premier Athletes. And I'm going to say this clash of styles was interesting to watch, especially Hologram and Josh Woods. Those two are like complete opposites, but they work together so well. I'd love to see a one-on-one match between those two in the future. And I'm not saying Darby Allin didn't do great either. Darby Allin is seriously one of my favorite wrestlers in AEW right now. He's great. Eventually, Premier Athletes get in control, tag in and out. Even their manager at the time, Ari Daivari, gets involved a little. Near the end, Hologram is in control. Smart Mark Sterling grabs him. Hologram then takes out Sterling on the outside. Gets back in. Hits a big old roll-up for the victory. Yeah, definitely an interesting little tag team match to open the show. A lot of energy, a lot of good stuff going on. We then go to our next match of the night, and it's a Texas bull rope match. Now, what that means is, you have a bull rope, there's a bell in the middle. Each competitor has the ends of the rope tied to their wrist, and they have a regular match. Which I thank God, because there's a version of this in which you gotta touch all four corners of the ring to win. I hate that. This was definitely way better. And it's Thunder Rosa taking on Deonna Purrazzo. And this match definitely felt like they wanted to kill each other. Like, great one-on-one. Definitely really good back and forth. A couple of weird tug-of-wars, including one that ended with Thunder Rosa going headfirst into the ring post. Eventually, Thunder Rosa gets back on top, including with a bunch of bell shots that just Ooh, that sounded rough. And Rosa with a big old bulldog through the table that was set up into the pile driver for the win for Thunder Rosa. I got a funny feeling we're not gonna see the end of this feud just yet. So yeah, we'll see where that goes. We then get a funny as heck, old school kind of 80s style video package for the Outrunners. If you haven't seen that, go give it a watch. It was funny as hell. And that leads us into this next match as the Outrunners take on FTR. And this was kind of looking into a wacky mirror for me, because you had FTR, the serious wrestling machines, against the Outrunners, who are, they're comedy, but they're also really good wrestlers. So, this was definitely a fun match to watch, seeing how both teams interacted with one another. Eventually, after a pile driver, power slam, and a shatter machine, your winners are FTR. Definitely a fun match. I'm hoping something good happens with the Outrunners, because I like them. They're great. Next up, we got a backstage interview with Superbad Kip Sabian. Definitely been a little while since I've seen him. With Sabian saying, look, I'm just looking to get back into action. It's been all about family for me for a while. And now, this brings in Nick Wayne, who says, why are you so obsessed with me, Kip? I'm tired of these games. Let's put an end to this once and for all next week on Rampage, where it's you versus me. Yeah, that's definitely going to be a fun one. We then get a recap of the MJF Kyle Fletcher match, along with interludes from Will Ospreay. Definitely an interesting one. Speaking of interesting, we now have LFI's Implosion as Roosh takes on Preston Vance. And I think this was Preston Vance's most interesting matches, because he definitely kept up with Roosh, although eventually Roosh won with the bullhorns. Looked like Roosh was going to help up Preston Vance after the match. Eventually he just knocks him down, hits another bullhorns. Roosh then goes under the ring, gets the cable, goes to whip Vance, but referees stop him. So, definitely interesting little feud going on. We then get the full version of the Jack Perry promo / vignette from Dynamite that got interrupted by the Taco Bell ad, in which, definitely a bit more dynamic, definitely more focused on what's going on. Then we get an open challenge, as it's Swerve Strickland taking on a mystery opponent. Swerve gets on the mic, saying, no, this isn't going to happen. This is serious business here. 2 weeks from my main event of All In London, I'm going to own Bryan's legacy, but I need a warm-up. But be aware, you're stepping into whose house? Swerve's house. I love that crowd interaction Swerve gets. It's so good. And who answers the open challenge? It's not for the AEW title, though. It's for a shot at the title. It's Tomohiro Ishii. Like, okay. That's a bit out of nowhere, but I loved it. This match... oh boy, this match was storytelling at its best. Just move for move, tit for tat. Big move after big move. Till eventually Swerve puts down Ishii with a house call. In which, that's interesting. Not even a swerve stomp, just a house call to beat Ishii? That's insanity. Definitely a solid match, and I would absolutely recommend it. We then go backstage from a promo for Claudio Castagnoli, who says to his opponent for Okada, I got a challenge for a title at All In. I want it. I got a great idea for a place. It's the first Dynamite in Europe. When we go to, I forget where it was. Okada, I'll see you on Dynamite. We're going to have a face-off between those two. That's going to be a fun one. We then get an interview from Chris Statlander and Stokely Hathaway, in which it's revealed Willow issued a challenge for the All-In 0 Hour, as it's her and Ishii taking on Statlander, and before the interviewer can make the announcement, I'm going to find a really good fit for Statlander. I know what Willow is up to. It's tacky. It's disgusting that Willow needs this bald guy to fight her battles for her. It is then revealed that by the interviewer that it is a specific partner Willow is looking for. It's Stokely Hathaway. Ooh. And Stokely's trying to play it off, saying, oh, you're funny. There's no way we are going to pass that we are going to do. And before he can continue, Statlander grabs the mic. She says, there's no way we're going to pass this up. We accept. And we have Statlander kind of leading Stokely out of the ring, as Stokely's just kind of mad. We then get a Top Flight promo, an interview in which they pretty much say, look, we're looking to get ourselves back in track on the tag division, but we need the right opponents. Then up from the ground come MXM, aka the former Maximum Male Models, where they pretty much say, you know, we don't want to be snakes. Sorry about your looks. Talk is cheap. Then Dante pretty much says, alright, you want to back those up? How about a match tonight? And, not Ali, what's his name? Mansoor pretty much says, look, I'm not cosmetically cleared for this match, so we'll do it next week. So Top Flight versus MXM. Not a match I had on my bucket list, but sure. We then go to our semi-main event, as it's Hikaru Shida taking on Aaliyah James. Pretty much a squash match after Shida hits the Falcon Arrow to pick up the win. We then go to a Bryan Danielson sit-down interview, once again with good old JR. With Danielson saying, look, my body is ready to go. This is the most mind-blowing thing. It's an honor to be here. It's moments like this I'll never understand. It's blessing all around. JR then asks about his body. Mostly, Danielson replies, look, mostly I think about my neck injury. I've been careful since I came back. I think I know how my body has served me. But I go back to the indies and the things we had to do just to get noticed. Then he reveals he needs neck surgery at the end of the year, which is before the year is out, which is very sad. Danielson continues, I've accepted it's coming. Anyways, think you're ready. I had 5 other shots for the AEW title. Each time I have failed. Yet I've learned something new about myself every time. I'm in the best mental shape I've been in years. And that's what will put me through to the AEW title. Big stakes on this match. I love it. Eating it all up like a juicy burger. We then cut to Hikaru Shida. She's getting interviewed. Saying, last time we spoke, Britt Baker, she got a win over me. So now I need some real competition. Monet, this is my last chance. Britt is first, but she's not the best. I am. I am the ace of the division. And after I take the TBS title, I go to Wembley. So, I'm definitely loving this. The attention the women's division is getting on AEW programming is very, very good lately. And I feel like it's elevating people like Shida all the time. It's great. We then go to our main event of the evening, and it's a number one contenders match for the trios title. And it is also a special guest referee match, being Christian Cage, who is wearing not a normal ref shirt, but it's a turtleneck ref shirt. Like, it is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen, but it works. Like, it looks great. Anyway, our participants: Juice Robinson, Austin and Colton Gunn of the Bang Bang Gang, Malachi Black, Brody King, and Buddy Matthews of the House of Black. And this was an awesome bout. This was a great old main event. Foot on the gas right from the beginning. Everyone pretty much gets their stuff in. And then, at one point, everyone kind of hits their finish on one another. So everyone's down. And Christian Cage starts counting. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's counting a little fast. Then Buddy Matthews gets up at like 9. Christian Cage with a big old spear to Buddy Matthews. Counts to 10 anyway. So I guess there's no number one contender. Out comes the Patriarchy, who put a beat down on both teams, including a Wayne's World, a choke slam on a chair, and a kill switch to end the show. Am I a little disappointed by the finish? Yes. However, that was one of the more creative finishes I think I've seen in a long time. Like, is it a non-finish? Sure. But the way it happened is just so good and creative. I love stuff like this. So now, where does that leave the trios titles for All In? If I were to make a prediction, we're getting a 3-way. House of Black, the Bang Bang Gang, and the Patriarchy. Oh, that's going to be a fun one. So yeah, that'll do it for me for this week. I hope you all enjoyed. Friday should be back to normal with my reviews of Raw, NWA Power, and AEW Dynamite. Might be out of town in a few weeks. We'll see about that. Till next time, happy wrestling, everybody. Peace.